You need to stop and you need to behave. You understand? I'm getting tired of this.
Hey, it looks like it's not going to get anywhere anyway, sir. So
Do what you feel you've got to do.
Victor, how can you be so incalcitrant? You're a servant and you're not behaving like one.
Call me a servant again,
Or what? So,
and you need to take your mask off.
I'm sorry, what?
Or not.
I don't go around to other grown men and ask them to take their clothes off. Because you would take the request, and then the city has
I won't, sir. It's not my job to take the request.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
You see what I'm saying? It's not my job to take that request, sir.
Sue me.
All right, I'm going to make a request for
You do that.
all records responsive to Section 90 of the Public Records Act and how the society complies with that.
Sue me.
I think you're getting way too big for your britches, sir.
And you
way too big. I don't understand. I don't think you understand what mountain you're climbing right now. Do you have any comment, Victor, as to why you're refusing to comply with the Public Records Act?
No comment.
No comment. You're just going to refuse it?
Yeah.
All you got is just rude belligerence. That's you, Victor.
Some of us are born that way, I guess.
You're in a space that's authorized personnel only. Can you please leave?
No. Hello. Looking to see if I can get some assistance? I'm here for official business.
But this is still a closed space.
Hey everyone, I am free. It is October 29, 2025. I am in the city of Tacoma, here in Pierce County in the Communist Empire of Washington State. And remember, the whole communism thing, it's just a sardonicism. That being said, I have to say, to begin with, I'll sound a little nasally, a little off today. Just got over kind of feeling not so great yesterday, but well enough to get out into the field and work on these stories. So I am doing a follow-up to this, the Washington State Historical Society. I'm going to their main building to follow up on the debacle that was my public records request at the Washington State Historical Society on Stadium Way here in Tacoma back on the 22nd. And as you know, I met with the now infamous Victor Melton, this gentleman right here, and didn't go well. You all saw it. So I'm going to be going over there to address that concern and to work on a few other things. On that list is more public records to be requested. I want to inspect their published procedures, and I want to inspect the Public Records Index. So that's what we'll be doing today. I also want to show you the glass bridge here. So this is really cool up here, open 24 hours a day. It's right above the Glass Museum, as you can see part of right here. The entrance to it is down the grand staircase. It's a really cool looking bridge. Right there is the United States Courthouse here in downtown Tacoma. But you can see this really cool bridge right here. Really great art all throughout. So it's worth coming and checking out the Museum of Glass if you come to Tacoma. But look at these amazing things. You can just use this bridge to cross over. They've got all these amazing displays right here. So pretty cool stuff. And here is the Washington State History Museum. And on down here. See if we can get this figured out. Yeah, looking for the administrative offices.
That would be a question for Mr. Klaus over here.
Go on this side.
Great, thanks. Oh, this is okay. Didn't even look over here.
Hello. Wait here one moment.
Sure, thanks. Appreciate it.
Hi, what can I help you with?
Oh, hello. There was a guy back somewhere, the security guy up front, who was going to get someone for me. I don't know who yet, but I'm looking to actually inspect the procedures manual, please.
Well, there'll be somebody in to help you.
Okay.
Hey, how can I help you?
I'm looking to inspect the procedures manual and the index for the society.
Procedures manual on the index for the society. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I don't think that we have that physically available right now.
Well, Section 40 of the Public Records Act says it has to be prominently displayed for inspection during your public hours, which WAC 255-160 says is Monday through Friday, 8 to 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
you don't have the procedures manual?
We'll typically have these things digitally available. Right now, I'm actually kind of running out to go pick up my son from school, but I would be happy to follow up with you and provide that to you digitally. Most things that we do, like we've moved digital for pretty much everything for ease of access and making sure that folks that request things like this, have easy access. You don't have to physically show up and request in person.
So it's
but I
not-
also understand that, you want to see this, so.
Yeah. So it's not prominently available though?
It is prominently available, but it's digital and I have to access. And I apologize, I've only been here for a couple months.
Okay.
So I'm really working on making sure I
Are
can
you the
understand.
director?
Yes,
Okay, great. Are Mr. Van?
yes.
Oh, great. Okay, I thought I saw that correctly on the website. So yeah, I also wanted to inspect the records index as well. Is that available?
Also digitally.
Digitally?
Yeah.
Okay. And I would like to also file a complaint against an employee by the name of Victor Melton.
Okay.
I had an awful encounter with him.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, he was on the cusp of, I believe, getting violent. You're a servant and you're not behaving like one.
Call me a servant again.
Or what? Oh, I'm telling you, don't go down that road with me.
Call me a servant again.
And what? And what?
As I said, do what you got to do.
And what? Are you threatening me?
You take that as you want to, man.
You are a servant.
Take that as you want to.
Physically violent with me. I addressed him as a servant because he's a public servant, right? I mean, everyone here is a public servant. I don't think that's a negative thing anyways. I don't think you take offense to being a public servant. You seem like you probably like the job, right?
Chosen this career on purpose.
There you go, right? So that's a good thing. So anyways, he was just being rude and brusque, asking me to take off my mask.
You need to call for an appointment.
Okay, so...
And you need to take your mask off.
I'm sorry, what? Asking me to stop recording literally in public on a sidewalk.
Yeah.
Outdoors, which was pretty crazy. I had actually received leads from people that they had gone to the building out on Stadium Way to request records, and that they were treated basically exactly as I was confronted with. And my lead-in narrative even exposed that, because I had said people had gone there and were basically treated poorly when I got there. That absolutely ended up being correct. I can't 100% say for sure that it was Victor that did it to other people, but it probably would come down to Victor based on the fact that no one else came out being brusque or rude or inappropriate or anything like that. Is it normal for your employees to behave like Mr. Victor Melton did?
No, and I don't know much about that.
Okay.
I haven't
You haven't
followed
seen
up
the
with
story?
him. I have not.
Okay.
And so I'm very sorry that that's been your experience. That's definitely not an expectation that we have of our employees,
Sure.
especially when facing the public.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd be happy to follow up with him directly myself. And
I mean, everything
Look
to
into
see
that
is
further.
right there on video. If you go to Inland Auditing Media, I do government accountability stories. I focus on Public Records Act, Open Meetings Act, administrative law, that kind of stuff. And so when people reach out to me, members of the public say, hey, the thing is happening at the place and this is what it is, can you check into it? After I vet it, I go there and it turned out to be true. So I don't know really what led to Mr. Melton being that way, but if I could get it addressed, it'd be great. And then how would a person view, other than online, the procedures as well as the index if they were to come in? Because it says it's available here. Is there
Yeah,
like a
so
desk or something we can go
this
to?
facility being our main public facility,
Yeah.
we're open 6 days a week from 10 to 5, Tuesday through Sunday.
Okay.
So anybody is welcome to come in and visit. I mean, typically we don't get in-person public records requests. That's just not something we get
Sure.
typically. People are usually here to see exhibits and do programs and whatnot.
Okay.
And so, a lot of those kind of back of house nuts and bolts things are not something that we typically have physically. Like I said, a lot of our records have moved on, into the cloud and are available digitally.
Sure.
But I definitely have to go through the system and make sure that like there's any redactions in there that we have to take out. It is publicly available. I'm happy to respond to your request within 5 days and also just follow up with you.
Let me clarify. So the index and the procedures, that's not a records request. Those are supposed to be instantly available on demand. That's not something. So I don't want to confuse this with a public records request. Those are tools meant to aid you in making a public records request. So it would be like asking a carpenter to request his hammer before he goes to work. It's like it's just a tool that he already has. Then he goes and he requests shingles or whatever else that he uses to build a roof.
Oh, okay.
So the index is just the index think is a table of contents, and it's a small table of contents. It basically says every state agency, and I understand you're a trustee agency, but it's the same thing in this case.
Yeah.
Every state agency has to have this index, and it's meant to basically say you may refer to X document as A, and I think of X document as Q. But to bridge the gap, you reference the table of contents, say, Mr. Van and his society calls this document X. So now when I request document X, there's very little confusion with the public records officer because they just go, oh yes, that's in fact exactly what we call it. And then you get that. Usually it gets the public records request done in like minutes, literally. So if I could do that, and then the procedures manual is just meant to explain to the public how the society goes about doing public records requests and all that.
All right, everyone. The Washington state government loves to hold everyone to account. So let's dig into the non-compliance and prove that the Washington State Historical Society is out of compliance with the Public Records Act as it regards the duty to publish procedures is found in RCW 42.56.040. The society is the state entity that runs the Washington State Museum of History in Tacoma, Washington, and helps preserve the story of Washington. So let's all ask ourselves, are they following the law? Well, as we can see here with RCW 42.56.040, Washington's Public Records Act states every state agency, which by definition of RCW 42.56.010, the Washington State Historical Society qualifies, must publish its rules and procedures publicly and prominently display them in the Washington Administrative Code. So citizens know who to contact, where to go, how to request records, and what the agency's policies and procedures are overall. That includes all formal and informal procedures, the general method of agency operations, substantive rules of public impact, and current updates to those policies. This isn't optional. It's a legal requirement. Now, let's take a look at this graphic here and break down what the law requires. State agencies must publish who the public can contact, where to request access, how to request records, what their general operating procedures are, formal and informal procedures, their substantive rules and policy interpretations, current updated rules, the correct statute or statutes, and all updates and revisions, and they must be current. Now let's compare that to what the Washington State Historical Society has published in Washington Administrative Code Title 255. They do have a public records chapter, but here's the problem. It was written in 1998. It still references the old public disclosure law in RCW 42.17, which was repealed in 2006. It only covers basic public records request steps. It does not include the operational procedures. It does not include substantive public policies, and it has not been updated in over 25 years. That fails the state's requirement for rules to be, quote, separately stated and currently published. In plain English, they're not keeping their transparency regulations current, and significant required materials are missing. So what does this mean for the public? Well, it means the Historical Society may be operating under rules that are not published, are not visible to the public, and cannot be enforced against you under the law. It also means you may legally ignore those unpublished rules because RCW 42.56.040 subsection 2 says the public cannot be forced to follow rules that were supposed to be published, but were not. In closing, this isn't about attacking a beloved cultural institution. The Historical Society preserves our shared story here in Washington State, and transparency transparency is and should be a part of that story. But the law applies to everyone. So today we're calling for a correction, a modernization, and a commitment to public transparency that meets the letter and spirit of Washington law. At the creation of this update story, I've also formally requested that the Historical Society update the rules so the public has the access and clarity the law promises. I've done this by email to the executive director. Transparency is not optional. It's the law, and history deserves nothing less.
And that's why it's supposed to be usually prominently available, like here.
Yeah.
So somebody comes in, and I do certainly appreciate that a lot of people do it online now, but a lot of older folk either need assistance with records requests. You'd be surprised at how many older folk reach out and say, I feel like government's, inaccessible. I tried to go in and I couldn't get anything done, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and I'd be happy to follow up with that to make sure that we are in compliance with the law, because that's something I take very seriously, obviously.
Sure.
And like I said, I'm still trying to get my feet wet here, understand all the things that are happening and going on. And, I would love to follow up with you and make sure that we are in compliance. And also,
but as of this moment, those are not things I can look at right now.
to the best of my knowledge, I would have to go and work with the team on understanding.
Is your public
where
records
that is.
officer available?
So that is technically me as the director.
Never mind. Okay, so I'll assume
We don't have a dedicated staff. I have to wear many hats.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, that works. I know you got to go. So actually, I was gonna see while I'm here covering this story. I usually don't cover this kind of stuff. Is there any chance I could get one of your staff to maybe show me around the museum and cover it as a part of my story? Because I think a lot of people that aren't familiar with Tacoma would probably like to see something like the Washington State.
Yeah. Is there anything specifically that you're looking at?
Nope. I just want to show off the museum. So especially people that watch my news outside of Washington State, if they ever come to Tacoma, they can come on down here and actually see it and understand what's available here. Because
absolutely.
I've actually yet to come inside myself, and when I saw it, I was like, this has got to have some pretty great stuff in here. So
Yeah,
is there any chance I
absolutely.
could get that?
Yeah. So if you visit our admissions desk, we can get you all set up, and all the spaces that are back here are open to the public. We do have a few closed spaces that are closed to the public because they're kind of back of house and we're dealing with sensitive collections and things like that. But
Sure.
I can bring you over to the admissions desk and get you set up for that.
All right, that sounds good. You got a business card, by the way, Mr. Van?
Not on me right now.
Okay.
Apologies for that.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey, Christmas. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, Nick. How about yourself?
Good. This gentleman would like to go and view the exhibits, so I informed him that all the exhibits are all public, and so I think you'd like to continue filming, right?
Yeah, I just want to kind of show off the museum, really just show it for what it is, and if people want to come into town and see if they're visiting. Whenever I get the opportunity when I'm working on stories to just kind of get some stuff of Washington State in there, I like to do that.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
And this is one of those things I think it'd be great.
Of course. Well, let me get this on you first. This will let security know you're a visitor. It's good for getting in and out of the building until 5 o'clock.
Okay, cool. Appreciate it.
Did you want to map it all?
Nope, I'm just going to meander around and just kind of see what the museum has to offer and show it off to especially people outside of Washington State.
Okay.
So,
All right. Is there anything else you need from me right now?
I'm good to go. Where do you recommend I start?
I'd say probably
here?
just going through here on the Grand Hall right here.
Cool. All right. Have a good day.
All right. You too.
Thanks.
It's going to be on this floor and the top floor.
Okay. Thanks. Appreciate it.
If you have more questions, just ask our guys. They'll be roaming around.
I will. Appreciate it. Thanks. So with that being said, that's going to be it here reporting today on my follow-up to the Washington State Historical Society on Stadium Way here in Tacoma. Mr. Van had to go, Director Van had to go, so I'm going to be coming back soon. Hello. Looking to see if I can get some assistance? Wow. Hi, do you know if Director Van is available or?
I am not sure, and I'm on my way out, but somebody at the front desk maybe, or?
Yeah, there's no one around.
Okay, I haven't seen him.
Okay.
Yeah. Apologies.
Oh, it's not your fault.
You're in a space that's authorized personnel only. Can you please leave?
No, because actually I'm here at the getting assistance from Director Van. I'm here for official business.
But this is still a closed space.
I got it.
Okay.
I got it. How you doing, sir?
Good, how you doing?
Pretty good. Welcome
Good.
back.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm looking to inspect the procedures manual that I took to
Nick
Director
will be
Van.
right down.
Awesome, thank
and
you.
Looking forward to meeting with you.
Yeah, well, I actually met him yesterday, so I
I know.
appreciate that.
I know.
Got a question for you. I appreciate the professionalism and the kindness. Thank you.
Sure.
The lady right there was profoundly rude.
Well, because she's in a secured area, it's supposed to be secured.
Gotcha.
So that's what the sign out there says.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Authorized personnel only.
sure. I actually am authorized.
Okay.
Yeah. As long as you have in an area like this official business, you're certainly authorized to do it, because this is where you would come. In fact, the security guard pointed that out to me yesterday. This is where you come to inspect like the index or the procedures manual, that kind of stuff. So
Yes.
certainly I wouldn't come
absolutely.
back here to eat my lunch, right? I would doubt that that's a official
I've had that
business.
happen.
Well, I'm not going to do it.
I know. No, it's hard when you have a lot of tasks. It's hard to focus on any one thing. So otherwise, I would have probably graded you before you got in here and brought you in here.
Fair enough.
He
Out of
said-
curiosity, is Victor Melton a security representative or employee of?
He works for the agency. Yeah.
Is he security?
Yes.
He is.
I believe he is.
Well, I'd like to address, in fact, you're probably the perfect person. I mean, obviously, Mr. Van is in charge of everything, but I know he's only been here for 2 months, I think he said yesterday or something like that, and you've been here for 26 years, so I think you know the place a little bit better. I had a terrible encounter. I don't know if you've seen my story that went out, but I went down to the, I guess the original Historical Society building down on Stadium Way, and when he initially approached me, he asked me to take off my mask, stop recording, and at that point I was just on a sidewalk. I mean, it's pretty crazy behavior. But then it just escalated where I was just simply trying to make a public records request. Have you seen what occurred?
I've heard about it.
Okay, yeah, it was
haven't
just
seen
terrible. Like he basically at the point where I said I was trying to explain the statutes, like certain requirements and whatnot, not to like pull a lawyer on him, but just rather to say, hey, look, you might not be aware, kind of a thing. Like, this is what the requirements are. I need to be able to do X, Y, and Z. And he was saying I need to make an appointment for it. Now, I noticed the signs down at that building say, for researchers, you need to make an appointment.
That's probably what he thought you were.
Yeah, well, I mean, making a public records request, I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty straightforward on that. But then at that point, he just became extremely flippant and aggressive, saying, sue me then, I don't care, sue me if you want. I mean, just said it all on recording where that's the case. Is that typically how security responds to a citizen making a public records request?
No.
On a sidewalk in public?
No, I don't think so. I'm not sure. exactly how everything went down.
If you'd like, I mean, I could pull it up on my phone right now on video and show you.
That's okay. That's okay.
Is there a way to have it addressed though today?
I know that management was made aware, and that they're working on it.
So do you know if this is going to lead to like training or? Because I mean,
probably at least some sort of training, advanced training, awareness, most certainly. To what the proper procedures and protocols are.
Well, the most concerning part is, and I mean, I get a very different feel from you. I mean, you're incredibly nice, you're professional, you're just a nice guy, right? I mean, I can just pick up on that. You've clearly been doing a good job for, 26 years. It's my impression. But at the point where, I would assume you understand you're a public servant, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's a fantastic thing. If people want to invest into that and do that, there's nothing wrong or shameful about that in the slightest.
No, you gotta have a desire to help people and
I told Victor, I said, look, I need assistance. You're a public servant, and servants are there to aid a member of the public. And he said, call me a servant one more time. Now, the implication from something like that is pretty clear. He is saying if I refer to him as a servant, a public servant, one more time, the implication was it's going to get violent. Now, of course, he's not a dumb person. I mean, it's obvious that he's smart. You can hear him articulate himself. He's an educated man. But the issue there is obviously he's not going to just come out and say, call me that again and I'm going to punch you in the face or say something like that. But I mean, the implication was clear. Say it again and it's gonna change, kind of a thing, right? And I thought that was remarkably insulting, threatening, and I'd like to make sure, I mean, as a journalist, like I said, I'm standing on the sidewalk outside trying to get a public records request, and he's in effect threatening me with violence. Again, not explicitly, but there's a reason why we have the definition of explicit as opposed to implicit, right? And
hey, how's it going?
Director Van, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good.
You came back. Do you want to see more exhibits?
Well, no, actually, I went through. I was actually having a fantastic conversation with your lead, Dave, here for Insecurity. I just wanted to stop by since I was in the area working on some other stuff again and see if I could, in fact, inspect the procedures manual and the records index.
Yeah, so we don't actually have a records index. We're not required to have one under the RCW. It is a very little known fact, actually.
Okay.
Because we don't have the type of records that would belong in an index because we're just not that kind of agency. And so we don't have any responsive records for that index. However, if you have any public records that you'd like to request, I am more than happy to help you get what you need. Anything that you, and again, like I said, a lot of things are available digitally, so I'd have to kind of look through the system and make sure that we have whatever we have that you want.
So, let me put in a pin in the index just for a moment, and if I could see about examining the prominently displayed procedures manual. Where can I find the procedures manual at?
Prominently displayed procedures manual. Could you explain a little bit more?
What I can show you here real quick is it says the shall prominently display and make available for inspection and copying at the central office for guidance to the public these things. So like rules of procedure, all that kind of stuff for the for the public records process. So where would I find the prominently displayed?
Okay, so if you're talking about procedures like policies and procedures that we have for internal operations or just for the Records Act. Okay, so our procedure is super simple. Following the Public Records Act, we have been trained to receive public records requests verbally or in writing, and then my staff know to respond within 5 days, and the response can be here's the records that you've requested. If we find something that's easily identifiable, we can respond with an expected time frame for when you might be able to receive those records. Some records requests are quite a bit more robust than others. So
sure, I can certainly appreciate that.
If somebody's requesting all records pertaining to, I don't know, something history, that might take a little bit longer to procure than something like, I want to specific email between these two people on this date pertaining to this topic. That's easily retrievable. Reasonable timeline for response, respond right away. We also have to go through our exemption process, make sure there's nothing that we have to release that should be redacted.
Sure.
Or in some cases, again, like the records index, for example, if we don't have any responsive records, then we would respond accordingly with that.
Okay. Let me ask you this, then, if I could. So you had said just a moment ago that all of the elements found in subsection 5 of section 70 of the Public Records Act for the index, that there is nothing, not a single record that meets the definition of those kinds of records.
That's correct.
Not one in the entire history of the Washington Historical
Yeah, I think there was like a cutoff time around like 1990 that if we had an index before then to have that available, and then there was something about like anything after that. I'm a little fuzzy on the details. I gotta be totally honest, that's a super obscure part of the Public Records Act. And that act I know has been revised many, many times since it was written in the 70s to try to keep up with the changing times. That specific section I'm not as familiar with myself. I have been in state government for a while, I've dealt with a lot of public records requests. That one I gotta say is definitely a new one to me. I had to do a little bit of research myself to make sure that I was giving you the best answer that I possibly could. But also in the terms of meeting the WAC that complements the RCW, I want to be able to provide the fullest possible assistance for you. So if there's something specific that you're looking for, if you're doing some research on a story or a project, whatever we have, if we have responsive records, I would love to be able to help you.
Okay, yeah, no, I appreciate that. I would like, what I'd like to do, and to clarify, just so happens, as a man of history myself, I've read all the session laws, everything back to when the Public Records Act was created. I am just a huge fan of the Public Records Act. Go home, sit next to the fire, drink some scotch, and read the Public Records Act. It's amazing. You have no idea what you're missing out on.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
Steve.
Steve, okay, I'm sorry. My apologies, Steve. That makes one of us.
I appreciate the honesty.
If I want some good bedtime reading to fall asleep at night because the NyQuil's not kicking in, I know what I'm going to do.
My second favorite is the history of law. Love that, Justinian the First, all that kind of stuff. But anyways, sidetracking here. So what I would like to do is, I did go back and I looked at the original 42-17-260, which then translated later into 42-56-70 for the records index. It actually separated, you didn't have a responsibility prior to 1990 unless you had an index, but you were firmly, by you I mean the agency, the state, is firmly required to have an index for all those things. So what I'd like to do, because I want to juxtapose everything that's in the archives, and since you've declared that that not a single one of those documents exists, on behalf of the agency here, I'd like to request everything that would be in subsection 5, not the index, because I understand you've told me that there is no index, so fair enough, but as if you had an index, I'd like to request a copy of every record that subsection 5 for a state agency would refer to.
Oh, okay. So looking at this, and again, apologies, I had only read this section after you brought it up.
Yeah, no problem.
So declaratory orders, final orders, all records. Okay, so that one didn't apply. Interpretive statements as defined, policy statements as defined in that RCW. Definitely look at that.
And one of the things I'd like to make sure of here too, because I found it's a pretty common thing. So the policy statements in subsection E, I think there's often a little bit of a misunderstanding there, especially by the attorneys at the Attorney General's office.
Yeah. I'm not here to debate what our counsel has told us.
No problem. So the policy statements often include such things as, like, if you as the director of the agency have been instructed by the governor to implement his COVID policy, for example. Now, I know you weren't here at the time, but like when Governor Inslee implemented that, it is a very frequent thing, a very common thing that directors of agencies or whoever's in charge to have issued a policy statement in order to enact the decree of the governor. That is a very common thing, and that would be, I would imagine, a policy statement, unless the Historical Society said, thanks, but no thanks, Governor.
Yeah.
I mean,
That would be
I mean, I'm sure
powerful. That would be powerful.
So interestingly, governor's declaratory statements and emergency orders are we're in a weird spot being a board of a trustee agency, right?
Sure.
So because we're not in the cabinet, we're not fully represented by the executive branch. Like I'm actually appointed by the board of trustees here. And then in the RCW 2734. Oh, thanks. It's consent of the governor. And so because of this, obvious relationship as being a state agency, being a trustee agency. We get funds from state government. We're also a 501c3. We follow governor's orders voluntarily, although we're not typically required to, because usually those orders apply only to executive branch cabinet agencies. So this is also like one of those little known facts about the complexities of how our executive branch of state government works here in Washington. But all that being said, I'm more than happy to follow up on that specifically.
Okay.
Could you repeat what that request was so that I can...
Yeah, so basically just everything in subsection 5 is basically in RCW 42.56.070, subsection 5.
Yep.
So if I could get everything that would be referred to by an index, if you had one that's listed there, and then also basically the entire paragraph after that. I mean, I don't want to read it to you because there's no point when you can just refer to it, but basically at the part where it says after subsection E, it says rules establishing systems of indexing. I'd be interested to know if those rules ever were created, so if there's anything about that.
Absolutely. Do you know what today's date is?
The 30th.
Okay. Oh, yes. Halloween's tomorrow. That's right. Sorry. All right, Steve, is there contact information I can get?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm happy to give you either my phone number or my email address, or both.
Okay.
My work phone number is 986-867-1462.
Okay.
And my email address is inland, 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 auditing, AUDITING, media.
Okay.
At protonmail, like the subatomic particle.com.
Proton.
Yep.
Mail. All one word.
Yep. .com.
Okay.
And then I was talking to Dave about this, but and he was elaborating on some of the things that were going on with Victor and like some training and stuff like that. So I just wanted to see, in following up from our conversation yesterday, what is your plan as director to address the issues? One of my greatest concerns was the implied violence from Victor, because like, for example, when juxtaposed against the two of you, polite, professional, kind, thoughtful, wanting to help, clearly like being a public servant, Victor was extremely offended when I called him a public servant and said, look, this is what servants do. They assist people just like you two are doing. I mean, you're doing a great job, right? And he became enraged at the idea that I was referring to him as a servant and said, call me servant one more time. And pretty much that threatening tone of like, if this happens one more time, it's going to go down. And I'm like, wow, I'm literally here for a public records request on a sidewalk. Like, I just don't even understand that. I mean, now, I can't say it doesn't seem like security's unhinged. I mean, Dave seems like a well-grounded individual, but Mr. Melton is in security. So is something going to be done to address that kind of crazy behavior?
Yeah, so I want to start again. I know I mentioned this to you yesterday, that I'm really sorry that was your experience. That is obviously not a way that we expect our employees to conduct themselves, especially with members of the public, let alone each other. But I will say that, working with Victor is a personnel matter, and I'm really not at liberty to speak about any of things. This is something that's super important to me in terms of confidentiality and giving everybody here, no matter what they've done or who they are, the dignity and respect of the confidentiality of any personnel process. And so I would ask for you to understand and acknowledge that as well.
Well, I mean,
I would treat everybody the same way, no matter if they were robbing a bank on state time with state resources or misusing state resources, or if you had a bad interaction with them. I would treat the process the same way for everybody.
Okay. Yeah, no, I can appreciate that. I think the main thing where I've received an enormous amount of emails to my work account, as well as
people following up like on social media, Facebook, for example, saying, hey, you know, is this going to be dealt with? I'm like, well, I don't run the joint, so I can't tell you, but I mean, here I am talking to the director. So is this going to be addressed where that doesn't happen again in the future?
We're working on it.
Okay, and then if somebody were to show up, for example, not just for example here, but like the original leads that led me to the, I guess I'll call the original Historical Society building on Stadium Way, somebody said they went there, and as can be seen and heard in my narrative opening, I hadn't even encountered Mr. Melton yet, and then basically what I was told was going to happen is what happened. And so I'm like, wow, that's, you know, I mean, obviously allegations verified. So I think for the public, they want to know that this is going to not happen again. Did you want to say anything to the public that watch my news that, you know, like any assurances or anything you want to say?
I mean, I guess the best thing I could say is that we're, like me especially, I'm aware of the situation, and I've reached out to Victor directly, and we've started working through it.
Okay, so it sounds like it'll get resolved then?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, great. Well, look, guys, I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much. I'm going to head on out. So thanks again.
You sure you don't want to see any more of the exhibits?
Oh, I did, but I tell you what, I went through there thoroughly yesterday.
Okay. What was your favorite part? I asked
the
mall visitor.
The train, unequivocally. The train was amazing. Although I was really impressed by the depth of detail on the Native American stuff you have right out front there. The intro to it was really amazing. That wooden display or whatever that goes down. I walked through everything, checked it all out. I don't know, maybe there's a couple nooks and crannies I missed, but I'm pretty sure I got it all. And I know in middle of December, if I remember correctly, Dave, you guys are going to have some massive, crazy, unhinged train couple weeks.
I don't know if I'd say unhinged, but like,
I mean that in a good
Train
way.
Festival is one of the best times of year. Like, we've got kids and families in here, and just like train sounds. So if you're a train enthusiast, like, that's definitely the place.
Well, and that's what I want to highlight too, because like one of the things, like I was telling you yesterday, when I go out and work stories, if there's something that I think is just amazing, and it's not every story I work on, but when I come to a place like this and people can come in and check it out and just become aware of it, whether they're local, they're out of town, maybe they're going to come in and visit from out of area, and they realize they can come down here and check it out. I think that's cool. Is there anything else you want to highlight beyond like the train stuff that David's talking about?
You mentioned this is native land as an exhibit. That's an excellent, like, that's one of our proudest, Grand Hall exhibit redos that we've done in the last little bit.
I mentioned that because actually a lot of people who are not from Washington, I told them, I said, if you go to a public meeting, for example, the opening of most public meetings in Washington State, you'll hear the, I can't remember what they call it, but it's basically the opening where the acknowledgement, the land acknowledgement is what they call it. Yeah, so almost every public meeting I've ever seen in Washington State has the land acknowledgement at the beginning. So I was trying to convey to people not from Washington, like, it's a big deal here.
Well, I wouldn't say that it's everyone. I'd say that sometimes it's done genuinely and with good interest, and sometimes it's just a checkbox, frankly, based on my observation. I would also say with our exhibit here, we're talking about the context of Washington State history. Obviously, State Historical Society started as a ferry museum in 1893. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Internet.
Well, I don't got you on that one.
I'm sure they'll correct me if I'm wrong. But anyways, around the time of statehood, Washington State wouldn't be here if it weren't for Isaac Stevens, going around on behalf of the U.S. government, negotiating treaties with the tribes.
Familiar with the name.
Yeah. So
not as up on the history as you are on that. So I guarantee you.
We're going back further in time than just statehood itself, because we felt like it was disingenuous for us to not really understand that Washington didn't just pop up overnight out of nothing, that there was, usual and custom lands that tribes have been using since time immemorial, and really paying honor and respect to that, and understanding how much of our history and culture is really deeply embedded in indigenous history and culture as well. That's what that exhibit's all about. So it was amazing. Come back anytime.
Literally had to go do some other work. I gave it as much attention as I could yesterday. I think probably what I'm going to do is come down with my family and maybe in a couple weeks or a few weeks or something, and just walk through it, but really walk through it and really read everything and all that. I just didn't have the time, because you could be in there for 8 hours. You could be in there for 8 hours easily.
Well, I'll tell you, family membership, 2 visits pays for itself. So you come back
pays
with
for what?
Pays for itself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the family membership, if you got a family of 4, I think is the average. So maybe 3, it might be a little bit more than 2, but 2 visits generally pay for itself with the family membership.
That's super cool.
You get into the festivals for free.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Train festival.
Look at that. Well, great plug, guys. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day and week. And
And I'll be in touch with you.
All right, sounds good. Take care, guys.
All right.
Have a good day.
All right, so that was Director Van here at the Washington State History Museum. So this is the main building for the Historical Society. The building I was at a week and a half ago is actually a bit further west of here. It's the original Historical Society building. It's got that kind of old look to it, which is great. I'm a huge fan of those kinds of buildings. This is, of course, a beautiful building too. Much larger, allows for all those amazing displays. I walked through it yesterday, so by the time you're going to see this story come out, it'll actually include yesterday's as well as today's, and you'll see my visit through there.
Hello again to those of you who ride with me all the way to the end. I appreciate the hardcore. This is where we connect a little deeper, as you all know. Not just through the story, but through something more reflective. The reason we do this. November is a cold month for truth in some corners. I'm going to drop some keywords to help this channel keep reaching people, but also, if you'll let me, some food for thought from the books and ideas that guide my work every day I bring stories to you. This is not just entertainment. This is documentation. It's philosophy, it's activism, and in 2025, it's a front line. Now into the keywords. Detained without reasonable suspicion, unlawful detainment audit, no probable cause stop, Terry stop exposed, refusing to ID is not a crime, Fourth Amendment rights, illegal search and seizure, cop demands ID with no RAS, RAS versus hunch, First Amendment versus law enforcement, denied public records request, retaliation for transparency, corrupt city council exposed, records audit, misuse of public funds, school board corruption audit, hidden public meeting recordings, FOIA refusal, open meeting law violations, secret government accounts, tyrant loses lawsuit, caught lying on body cam, meltdown over camera, audit goes viral, never seen before reaction, public freakout caught on video, officer doesn't know the law, arrested for filming, again, best audit moment of the year, should this cop be fired, courthouse encounter, public works audit, utility district confrontation, police training center audit, election office audit, state agency corruption, health department audit, public university filming rights, fire marshal meltdown, federal courthouse press rights, civil disobedience, passive resistance, deontological ethics in journalism, natural law theory, social contract broken, consequentialism versus justice, ethics of filming public servants, Kantian ethics on civil rights, power versus authority, is silence protest. Now let's get into some of the philosophical readings and reflections that I think are appropriate for the month of November in 2025. From the works of Thomas Paine, from The Rights of Man, a body of men holding themselves accountable to nobody ought not to be trusted by anybody. In essence, whether it's City Hall or the Sheriff's Department, the truth remains. Unchecked power decays. If they bristle when filmed, what does that say about their view of the public? From Frederick Douglass, find out just what any people will quietly submit to, and you have found out the exact measure of injustice and wrong which will be imposed upon them. In effect, the camera's not a weapon, it's a measure of what they'll tolerate and what we will not. From one of my favorites, John Stuart Mill, in his book On Liberty, the worth of a state in the long run is the worth of the individuals composing it. In essence, the more informed the citizen, the more accountable the state. Your knowledge, your recording, is the worth. And absolutely in my top shelf favorites, from Justinian I, from Corpus Juris Civilis, the digest of Justinian, quote, "What pleases the prince has the force of law, unless it displeases justice." This profound statement from an emperor who had no reason to be as sensible and measured as he was, in effect says that a badge, a gavel, and a seal, none of them override what's just. Filming exposes where that line is crossed. So I've got a little homework for you all. As you hardcore here stay to the very end, I have some questions that I like to ask, and I love to see the responses. So here's some questions for you in the month of November 2025. What's the worst public excuse you've ever heard to deny transparency? Should police be required to name the statute they're enforcing on camera? Where should the line be between public discomfort and government accountability? Has your city tried to ban public recording? Let me know down below. Which is worse, ignorance of the law or pretending you don't know it? And with that being said, I want to thank you all for staying through to the very end as always. I know I'm a day or two late here in November technically at the time of this recording, but I really appreciate you all. I really appreciate you staying to the end, and I extraordinarily appreciate your support of my work and my journalism. Thank you. Well, how's your day treating you?
Good. We just had a bunch of students that were eager to learn, and
Oh, cool.
hopefully they filled their heads with all kinds of history. And they headed out, so we're just cleaning up after them.
Did they leave kind of a wake of destruction?
Sometimes I wonder if any of it ever gets it in their belly.
Wow.
So it's all over the floor, yeah.
Well, hopefully we're at least talking about elementary school kids. I mean,
we do the full spectrum here, but most of them were elementary.
Yeah,
today.
I mean.
And good kids. They were really good. I mean, they were eager to learn.
That's good.
And well behaved.
Nice. Fantastic.
I know at their home school, they'd probably be doing recess.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, we expect it, and it's fine. They're good. Before COVID, we were doing 20,000 kids a year, close to that.
Wow.
Yeah.
20,000?
Yeah, we had days.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we had days we had 600 kids in the building.
Have you guys researched from that point at all? Like, where I'm sure it dipped down, of course, during COVID, right?
Yeah. Oh,
have you guys,
absolutely,
reclaimed any of that?
We're rebounding, but it's taken some time.
What would you say? What was last year's? Do you know, or roughly?
I don't have that number, but I know it's nowhere near what we used to do.
Would you say sub 10,000, or would you say maybe around 10?
I would like to say that, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, I'm not trying to hold your feet to fire. I was just kind of curious.
Yeah.
I'm sure even in a tacit way, you've got a better feel for this place than I do. Actually, yesterday, I hate to say it as a Washingtonian, but that was my first time into this museum yesterday. So usually when I'm working on a story, if there is something cool that I can pull into it that shows off some of the great things about Washington, like being at a place like the museum or somewhere else, I like to highlight that because I get people watching my news from all over the country. I even get some people from out. What's that?
I said fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. So I like to show off some of the cool things around Washington State.
This is definitely a cool place.
I agree. I'm a huge history nerd. So
yeah, coming up in December, about mid-December, we filled the place with model trains.
Oh my gosh, for real?
For real. So from roughly about mid-December up to and including New Year's Day, we're open to the public and full of trains.
That's amazing.
Most festive time to come to the museum.
That is so cool. Wow. I'll make sure that goes out. Anybody that wants to come and check that out. Mm-hmm. And when does that start again?
We bring the trains in usually mid-December. Every year it's a little bit different by the way the days settle. But usually trains in mid-December. Usually the following week we will open it. Usually the Friday after our third Thursday will be the first day of the train festival.
Wow.
And I believe
so. It takes you a full week to set it up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, so you're talking kind of like the train display you've got here, but more of that.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
We have more trains up there. We have trains in the boardroom.
Mm-hmm.
We have trains all on the fourth floor in the mezzanine.
Mm-hmm.
We have a big layout out here.
Mm-hmm.
And then down on 2 we have the Kitsap Live steamers, which are the big actual either steam engines or the battery powered ones. Yeah. And those are bigger, and they actually have a facility out in Kitsap. I forget how many miles of track they have. A lot, many miles of track. And you can go out there in the summertime and actually ride those trains.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that, I mean, stuff like that. I love when people can find out about that, you know, and just get their kids out for something like that, because you know how kids go crazy for that stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, they always think it's Polar Express, even if it's not winter. But if it's winter time, it's definitely Polar Express.
Yeah, we get a lot of train lovers here.
I bet.
Yeah.
I, in fact, speaking of that, it's one of the things I was just so blown away by with that train display back, you know.
That is really a work of art.
Yeah, it's insane.
The model of the Union Station that's up there took 20 years to make.
The model of the Union Station took 20 years.
Yes. I forget his last name. I know his first name was Gale. He's a master craftsman.
Is that to imply that the inside of it is complete as well?
There's so much detail on that. If you look really close, you'll notice just what a piece of artwork that is.
It's incredible.
And I believe he had finished it, completed it, and got it installed, and it was roughly a month or so. He passed away.
Well,
yeah.
Thankfully, he got at least to the point to see it and know that his work was.
Yes.
You know,
very much appreciated.
Yeah, that's wow.
Great guy.
That's amazing. You got all sorts of good stories. That's really cool.
Yeah. The ones that manage that layout up there are called the Puget Sound Model Railroad Engineers Club. And they operate first Saturday of every month. They'll be up there, and they'll have their attire on. They'll have their headsets, and they'll be running that just like a real railroad.
You know, it's amazing. I don't know if you're into this or not. Excuse me, but I noticed a connection. Not like I studied it officially or anything, but I noticed a connection quite a while ago because I'm old, and I came to realize that all the model train folk from decades ago, right when they started doing all that, coming up with elaborate displays, dioramas, all that kind of stuff. When I'm a huge gamer, but old school, you know, I mean, I not only do, you know, modern gaming, but, you know, old school, like Avalon Hill War Games, that kind of stuff,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
All the good stuff. And, you know, prior to that was all the, like, Napoleonic, miniature-based war gamers. And these guys have huge armies, tons of money into it. You know, it takes them forever to paint it and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because you go back to those, I think really, in my opinion at least, prove me wrong, but I think it is the model train guys started this out. And I think people started taking stock of the fact that, you know, when these train displays and dioramas were put together and they put people in there, they're like, hey, let's do this and do the Revolutionary War, or, you know, the Napoleonic Wars or whatever. And then that took hold, and then I think gaming just exploded from that, because you kind of see it there in that like late 60s, early 70s is when it changed a lot. Now you get like Warhammer and all that, but I mean, it comes from all that.
Yeah, I remember being second, third grade and pulling out my box of Army men.
Oh, sure.
And cowboys and Indians. And
Yep.
Lincoln logs, things like that.
I hear you. Yeah. No, same here. It was really cool. So what do you do here at the museum?
I do security here.
Oh, okay, head of security?
Yeah, well,
Cool.
not head of security.
Oh, okay, not head of
That's my boss, but I'm lead security.
Okay, cool.
So I kind of train the other guys and show them, you know, what's expected and
Nice.
how to do things.
Nice. You got a business card by chance?
I think I do. Yeah, let's see.
Well, thanks, man.
You bet.
Dave, I'm Steve.
Nice to meet you, Steve.
Likewise. Cool. How long you been with the museum?
November, it will be 26 years.
What?
Yeah.
You don't look like you've been doing this for 26 years. Look at you winning at life,
Yeah.
Dave. Nice.
I've been lucky. I guess
Yeah.
I've been fortunate and lucky. It's a great place to work. I could tell some incredible stories. I've witnessed some incredible things.
I bet 26 years. It's a clip.
Yeah. I've met 3 different governors. You know, it's been a ride.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
So how much longer are you going to stick at it before you... I'm assuming you're a PERS employee since you're...
Yeah. I hope to make it 5 more years to my my full
30 years.
expectation. Yeah.
Are you on the old PERS?
No.
You're probably close to that time though, aren't you?
No, actually, I think that goes back a little bit farther.
Oh, is it? Okay. I just remember
a little bit. Yeah.
There's some guys. I can't remember which agency it was. It was someone I knew that knew someone that was retiring from X agency, and back in the day, apparently you could get up to like 90% if you did a certain, but it was a lot. It was like 40 years or something like that.
I know.
Crazy.
I've known people that retired on PERS 1, some that had volunteered here and whatnot, and I know it was a sweet deal.
Oh yeah, it was like
Definitely
basically almost your entire full pay.
Yeah.
And you're just like, that's crazy. That's amazing. I mean,
yeah.
I'd want that if I could get to it. Yeah, no kidding.
No, I made sure early on to have a percentage taken out of my regular pay just
smart.
as a safety.
You know, you have to, a lot of things a lot of people disagree with in Washington State, you know, politically and whatnot, but not speaking to it politically, but I just have to say one of the things Washington State has done amazingly well financially is they never touch that account.
That's good.
Sits with that money. It does not get wrecked. Because if you, I'm sure you remember the news, because I think it was like 15 years ago, when Detroit went bankrupt.
Oh,
remember that?
Yeah.
They just got
horrible.
They just got run over.
Yeah.
I mean, just everything. It just the whole city was just economically destroyed.
Yeah. That should have never happened.
No, it definitely should not have happened.
Yeah.
But I think one of the ways you avoid that from happening is you don't go get your fingers in there as a legislator.
Absolutely.
And, you know, that's the only way.
You need to be involved.
Because even if you have a well-intended person, you know, that says, hey, you know, the actuary looked at it, this is the way we can invest this, the financier says we can do this, etc., you can still make mistakes. There's things that just maybe don't get accounted for. And I think when you get, or when you have rather, a policy that just says, do not mess with the retirement stuff. Just
Yeah,
let it be.
I mean, I look, it's an ethical thing. It's
100%. These people are putting in all this time.
Hands off. That's
it's a contract. It's an agreement.
Yeah, definitely. So, I'd like to think that my retirement is secure. At least I pray so that it is.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would be awful if it wasn't. But yeah, that is one good thing that they do for sure.
Nick should be on his way down here shortly. He was on a meeting call. I don't know what kind of a call, meeting call he is. He gets a lot of them. But